One of the Council's key amendments related to changing the language used for discussing gambling consequences. The terms problem gambler and problem gambling will now be replaced by terms such as gambling harm and people harmed by gambling.
So the thing about problem gambling is that it's now very much a stigmatising term. It tends to be seen in tandem with responsible gambling, and both of those work around an idea that when people have problems from their gambling or harm from their gambling, it's actually their fault.
On top of reducing stigma, the language changes recognise the extent of harm from gambling.
When we talk about harm from gambling, we know that 85% of the harm from gambling doesn't come from that small group of problem gamblers. It also comes from other people who gamble and gamble in ways maybe not so often or not so frequently.
Gambling is a big issue in the Banyule area specifically, which has led to the changes.
Banyule is not one of the worst in the state, but if you look at the amount, $54 million is lost in Banyule through gambling. The money being lost is by the most vulnerable within our community and the people who can least afford it. Every person that is being harmed by gambling, it is impacting 8 other people as well within their family and their friends.
Councillor Melican says it is ridiculous that gaming venues are allowed to stay open 20 hours a day.
That's when the real harm is being done, when people are sitting there in the middle of the night, there's not many people around, they're bored, they're lonely, and they just gamble. The hours of operation are far less at the RSLs, whereas the private venues are open much longer. If you look at the loss per machines, it's much higher at the private venues.
Opening hours of venues is a state issue, so there's little councils can do. But Banyule City Council is doing what they can to change the discussion around gambling harm. April Austen in Banyule for RMIT Newsline.